Hi, I'm MaSpice Connie Davis. My son is Anthony Spice Adams. He went to Martin Luther King High School. As you see, I have on my King logo. This is We Bleed Black and Gold because we're a crusader. And my son, Spice Adams, when he was in high school at King, he was, the main ingredient. If you guys can see that or not, I don't know, but he was the main ingredient. That's why they called him Spice. Well, he never wanted to play football in the beginning. And I know he tells this story a lot, but it's the truth. He wanted to play basketball. So when he first started playing at King, I dropped him off at the field. And I told him, I said, Anthony, go over there and introduce yourself to the coach. And he turned to say, which coach? And I left because it was a bunch of guys over there. So one of them had to be the coach, and he was able to go over there and tell them who he was. And then when I came back, a little while later, he don't tell this part of the story, but the coach told him to run around the track. And so he says, run one, walk one. So he ran one and he walked one. But by the time he was done and got back in the car, he was like, Ma, I got to be back up here tomorrow. And when I come up here tomorrow, I can't be late. The coach said I had to be here at a certain time. But today, when we was out there playing, we was all doing this together. 1, 2, I said, oh, wow. You like that, huh? You like that football stuff? Yeah, I like football now. After one day, he said he loved football. So I was awesome as far as how I felt about him wanting to play, but I knew that kids his size played football. I brought him up to the Pal League up at King High School when he was 8 years old. They put him on the scale. Scale went 200 pounds. They said, ma'am, he can't play with these little kids. I said, what? He's a little kid himself. What do you mean? He said, you're going to have to wait till he gets to high school. I said, high school it is. And Anthony kept trying to convince me, no, I'm going to be a basketball player. I don't want to play football. Mom, I don't want to play football. I want to play basketball. Too bad. Kids your size play football. And football he did. He got a full ride to Penn State. Was 57th picked overall with the 49ers. Played with them for 4 years. And the Chicago Bears for 5.
Hi, my name is Tracie Robinson. I'm Alan Robinson II's mom. Alan Robinson started out his football career with the Detroit Cubs. Then he played with the Southfield Falcons. From Southfield Falcons, he went to high school at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, on to Penn State. And then he went on to play with the Jacksonville Jaguars, the 61st pick in the 2014 draft. And then he went on to the Chicago Bears. From there, he went to the LA Rams and on to Pittsburgh Steelers. I was at one of the Southfield Falcons game watching my son play a game, and one of the coaches was sitting next to me. The coaches and the other people around was wondering who was number 5. Number 5 was my son, and everyone was talking about, we got to watch number 5 because they want to key on number 5 because that's the player that they're going to try and stop. And I'm like, that's my son. It so happened that the coach that was sitting next to me was a friend of mine that went to high school with me, and he was keying on my son. I'm like, don't hurt my baby. That's my baby out there. Even though you guys have to play against us, don't hurt him.
Hi, my name is Constance MaSpice Davis, and my son is Anthony Spice Adams. So one day I picked him up from practice, and we're in the car, and so he comes in, with his helmet and everything, and so he tried to throw his helmet in the back, and so I looked and I said, Anthony, oh my God, your helmet is cracked. He said, yeah, I know, but it's okay. And I was like, no, it's not okay, Anthony. He said, but Ma, if you say something, I'm not going to be able to play because we don't have any more black helmets. I said, well, that's too bad. I'm saying something to the coach. So the next day I stayed and I told Coach Reynolds, I said, hey, Coach Reynolds, Anthony has cracked his helmet. And he says, oh, he did? I said, yes. I said, and I don't want him playing with that cracked helmet. And he was like, but Mom, come on. I said, Anthony, the helmet is cracked. If somebody hits you and it splits, that's your head. And he's like, but Mom, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to let him get that close. I said, Anthony, no. So the coach said, I got him. He'll be okay. So went to the next game. Anthony was the only one on the team with a white helmet on. All the other players had black helmets on. So I'm at home one Friday getting ready to come to the game, and I get a phone call from his cousin that was at Grambling State University, his cousin Trace. So Trace says to me, Auntie Connie, who's on King's team that wears a white helmet? I said, why? What's wrong? He says, no, they say he's a beast. I said, you're kidding. He said, no. I said, guess what? I said, that's Anthony with that white helmet. Because he had the white helmet, he stood out. So that's my story about him wearing that white helmet, and his mom saying, no, you can't wear that correct helmet, and I think that's why he got to Penn State.
You know, Jerome's first game was actually at high school. He never played any little league or little guys or whatever. We bowled. We were a bowling family, and I thought Jerome was going to be a professional bowler because he was in travel leagues and everything, but when he got to be 13, 14, he said, Mom, I want to play football. And I'm like, oh no, because I hated football. And between him and his dad, they beat me down. And I took him to pediatrician to get checked to see if he could play. And I told the doctor, I said, well, Jerome has asthma. And I said, he'll have to take oxygen. So the doctor said, well, if he has to take oxygen, he should not play. So I'm like, okay. And he gave me inhalers for him to use before he started and during the game. So I was always at the game with the inhalers. I gave one to the coaches, and they always had them. And they would always, we would always know if Jerome needed them. And I knew once he got to the pros when he was having a problem breathing. Moms always knew, but I always knew whenever you see Jerome drop down on his knee doing a run, he didn't take the run all the way through, he was having a problem. And, and I used to say, darn, he could have ran that touchdown all the way, but he couldn't because he had to stop and breathe. So he had the asthma, but he learned how to play with it. I didn't want him to, but I thought again, and I'm thinking, oh, well, let him play and see what happens.